everybody. Today, I wanted to touch on the subject of micromanagement in leadership. And the reason this came up is because someone shared with me a meme that said micromanagement is not leadership. And it really resonated with me because having been in the industry for a very, very long time, I have had my share of people that I've worked with that are micromanagers, managers who thought that micromanaging a team was the way to exhibit management skills and leadership. And I very strongly disagree with that. I, for one, am not someone who likes to be micromanaged. I don't believe that I need to be micromanaged, and because I am self-motivated and I know how to get stuff done, and I don't micromanage my teams when I do have teams to manage. It's just not something that I have found that works really well for individuals because there's different ways in which people like to be managed, and typically they don't want someone who's breathing down their neck all the time or firing off questions on status of things. It's just not something that's conducive to growth. So the reason I want to touch on this is because I think there's a lot of reasons why micromanagement makes its way into roles for managers and leaders. First thing I want to say is that to define a leader, at least how I see it, is someone that has a vision, that knows where they're going, they have a passion for what they're doing, and they are able to motivate others about that passion and that direction. And they are able to get the most out of people, the most productivity, the most energy, the most passion out of them to get to that end goal that we share. Now, there are a lot of people who have grown into or been awarded leadership roles that maybe should not be leaders in that role because they don't have that kind of ability to rally people around a certain vision. They are more managers than they are leaders. But I think that when you're looking at micromanagement as a trait of leadership, I think that we need to kind of tweak our thinking in that way. The reason most people start to micromanage their teams when they come into roles of leadership is that there is a certain level of insecurity. They just don't feel competent in their role. Maybe they have some sort of imposter syndrome going on. They're not equipped. So insecurity breeds then, well, I need to manage everything. I need to put my thumb on every single thing. And they think that the success of their team means that they will be successful as well, which is true. But you don't need success. You don't need to have micromanagement to get success. So it's also the fear of losing control. As a manager, you're responsible for a certain area, and you want to make sure that people are performing at the level that they need to. And you may think that, well, if I manage every single thing that they're doing, I can ensure that there's going to be success. The other one is you may lack trust in the other people. You think that if you can control everything and you can manage all of the things, that it's going to get done, and you don't believe that other people are up to your standards or can complete the work at the same level that you can. So I think a lot of those are factors of why people micromanage, but the impact of this, if you think about the impact on your teams, is that you're really stifling their growth. You're not giving people the ability to spread their wings and accomplish things on their own, to come up with their own ideas on how to solve problems, to come up with ideas on how a project should be run. People need a certain latitude to be successful and allow themselves to find confidence in themselves to be successful in these roles. The other thing too about that is that you don't always have to have success. You don't always have to be succeeding at the thing that you're doing. Failure also is a very informative tool. It educates us. It tells us what does work and what doesn't. So you need to trust your individuals to learn on their own, to fall down, to get themselves back up, to do the right thing, to pivot. And that teaches you a lot in your role. So when you're by micromanaging them, you're not allowing them to have that type of growth, and you're really stifling their ability to do better later on because you constantly have your thumb on them. It also reduces productivity. If you are constantly micromanaging every activity, everything that they're doing, you're asking for feedback constantly from them when they're not ready to give it. People do need time to do their work. So if you're constantly on top of them, it reduces their ability to be productive because they are constantly looking over their shoulder. They're not concentrated on their work. They're waiting for you to ask for a status report. And to be frank, micromanagers a lot of times don't wait for someone to come to them for feedback. They think that because someone is waiting on feedback, they're maybe hiding something. And that's not the case. They're just trying to do their work. They need time to do that. They need to get legs underneath them. They need to manage the project themselves. So give people latitude so that they can grow and they can continue to be productive. It also demoralizes your team. If you're constantly asking for feedback or for every little update on every single thing that they're doing, or you're telling them what direction they need to go in or how to complete a project based on what you think is right, they're never able to do that on their own, and it's demoralizing to people. People need space, so give it to them. So if any of these things are resonating with you, there is a way out. Like, you can learn to not be a micromanager. It may be very hard to step out of that ability to be a micromanager, but you need to do that in order to become a better leader and to get your team motivated to do what needs to be done for the good of the business and to make you successful as a manager. So the first thing is that we really need education. If you're not a natural leader, you're not naturally motivating people to do the work that they need to do, there is education and training on this. There are lots of leadership courses you can take. If your organization has a learning program, I really encourage you to go and listen to those things, because they will teach you skills on how to be more empathetic, how to be calmer, how to manage others, how to tailor your leadership style to the individuals that are on your team. And that can be hugely valuable for not just the team you're managing now, but for the rest of your career. The other thing is to set clear expectations. So when you're setting expectations for your team, you need to trust them. You need to give them whatever is the thing that you're trying to achieve. And this is where I always think that it's the best place to start, is knowing what you want to achieve from the thing that you're going to assign to someone. And then let them achieve that thing. Let them create whatever needs to be created around that project to get to the result that you want. It doesn't have to be the way that you want it to be completed. You just set that expectation. I want this thing done here, and I want that project to have these types of results, and I want it at this particular time, and it has to be a reasonable amount of time for them to accomplish that and do it well. So set those expectations early, and then let your team do it the way that they want to do it. They will do the work, they will do the research, they will own it. And that's a big part of them feeling like they own the project and have pride in it. And they will get the project done according to your expectations if you let them do it their way. It doesn't always have to be your way. So how do you stop being a micromanager? First is you need to have your team be independent. If you have been a micromanager for years with a team that you have, or even for a long period of time, it might take them a while to learn that they can be independent. But you need to trust them. You need to give them the independence. You need to set your expectations and let them work through the problem. The next one is have regular check-ins. And I don't mean every day. Sometimes when you're working on a project, you need to have regular stand-up meetings and figure out what the progress is that has been made. But make sure that your check-ins are at reasonable intervals so people can accomplish work. Oftentimes things take more than a day to work, especially if they have a loaded workload. So give them the reasonable amount of time. Ask them what their input is. How long do you think it'll take for you to get this first step done? And then check in after that, or check in every week. Set a time that the two of you mutually can agree on when you will do check-ins. So not only are they able to accomplish work, but your mind is set at rest that they are working towards the goal that you have established. And then empower your teams. You should not be gatekeeping people from your team members so that because that, if you gatekeep people, if you silo things so that it's hard for them to find what they need to do their project, that's going to be detrimental to them and detrimental to you in the long run. So empower them, give them agency to go and do the things that they need to do, and let them fly. It's just like if you're raising children, you want to do your job in the first 18 years, and then you have confidence that after that they can fly on their own. That's what we're doing with our team members too. You give them the rules and expectations of how things should be, and then let them go and let them accomplish. Let them fall down, let them get themselves back up. And overall, you will become a better leader for it, and people will want to work with you because they know that you give people independence, empowerment, and education to do the work that they need to do. So if you have any questions or you have your own experiences in shifting from micromanagement to a true leadership position, I'd love to hear it in the comments, and anything else you want to talk about in this on this subject. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.